My name is Guillaume Dufour Morin, and I am the CEO of the company Legal Human Trafficking Goods and Services team. I'm pleased to be here in Mexico City. Since 2018, I've been involved in legal human trafficking with my company. The aim of my company is to exploit human material by the development and commercialization of various forms and practices of legal human trafficking. I'm trying to commercialize products and services that I create and put in circulation somewhere in between the art market and through simulacra, the free market and black market. I would like to introduce this first International Congress of Legal Human Trafficking. Within this lecture, I will present my practice of legal human trafficking and the reason why I am doing this International Congress. This will include interventions by Guillermo Fuentes, human rights worker, Déborah Paola, researcher, Roxana Gutierrez, celebrant of the Day of the Dead, and Pancho Lopez, curator and artist. There will be also an open discussion, and finally, a legal human trafficking application session. All the lecturers will present forms and practices of legal or illegal human trafficking and will address directly those questions. What is legal human trafficking? How do people do it? Why? Human trafficking is, in its most common form and practices, is often defined as the trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor, exploitation of organ or sexual slavery, or commercial sexual exploitation. Human trafficking is a crime against a person because of the violation of the victim's rights through coercion or commercial exploitation. Mexico is known as a large source, transit, and destination country for victims of human trafficking. As you may have deduced, legal human trafficking includes all forms and practices of economic exploitation and circulation of labor and bodies in our society, which are legal, originates from an individual or a network, most commonly by effects of abuse of neoliberalism. For example, the actual exploitation of Catholic relics made of body part of saints. Legal human trafficking is, in the end, an open concept I developed by exploring through my art practice the comparison between human trafficking victims and traffickers and performance art artists put in circulation and economically exploited in the contemporary art international network. I will not present all the projects and services I'm developing through the activities of my company Legal Human Trafficking Goods and Services teams since 2 years. What is already known is that I've been practicing legal human trafficking extensively in India. So in 2018, in the Morning's Performance Art Biennale, I developed my first product, which was human dust from India. This product consisted to asking to this worker to steal all the dust from the residency during all the festival. So the products include the domestic dust, which contains more than 50% of human component in the composition from performance art artists. It means 70 artists in that case. So I packed those dust and I sold it in the street. I start in front of the Chandigarh Government Museum and I continued in the streets of Chandigarh. So here you can see first I was interacting with the public, composed by people from Chandigarh, students, and also artists in the festival. So as you can see, I was asking for money. There was a transaction, and people was giving something like first 50 rupees for buying the human dust from India. In the streets was a bit more complicated, but I managed to sell some human dust from India. So here you can see that I had a comrade who I also developed a kind of friendship. As you can see, I also not only try to sell this human dust from India in Chandigarh, but also in the village of Badishare, which is located the residency of Morning Hills. And so one of this action consists to throw away the human dust from an India product and to mix it with the garbage which was already there. Next projects I developed was presented in the frame of the KIPAF, the Kolkata International Performance Art Festival edition of 2019. The project was titled "A Little Bad of My Dead Skin is an invitation for a drug trip to everybody." So, in other words, I use my own dead skin to fill a little bag which is commonly used to the selling of drug and consumption, and I recreate a scene of consumption of drugs such as cocaine. And this have been presented in the streets of Kolkata without like any human presence. So it was like on the streets like this. And in 2018, I also developed services which was the treasure hunt of every possibilities, in the frame of a residency with Farsight Collective in Ladakh. So the project consisted to the development of a game which was the treasure hunt of every possibility and was so a treasure hunt on a map. So this map was actually presenting the possibility of getting 15 treasures all across Ladakh. There was some indices, and you could get some treasures like the flower of the dead, or some spiritual treasures, or some material treasures. But here's the map. So the map had been sold on the streets. Yes, it had been sold on the street of Leh, actively and through annunciation of it. So publicity, self-made publicity. But actually, the treasure was, as I tell, was flower from the dead, or nothingness, or simulacra of anti-personal minds. Because you have to know that Ladakh is near a war zone and very militarized zone. So here I developed the project by taking the flowers from the Muslim cemetery in the village of Turtuk, at 3 kilometers of the militarized zone. I took the flowers in this cemetery, in the tombs of those who have died during when this village was taken by the Pakistan and getting back by India. So Here is also the other possibility. So as I said, a simulacra of antipersonal mind, which only the detonation part was missing. I was also adding glass to it. So I've been putting simulacra treasures all around Ladakh. Here is, for example, in the one of the bunker of the interchurch near Muslim temple, which was a mosque, which was built by the Indian army. So also I used a space near of the cemetery and I placed a treasure. Only at like 1 kilometer of the place where foreigner cannot go, I also place one of those simulacra of antipersonal mind. I have continued through also all buildings reminding the presence of war in into Ladakh. So even most recent monuments have been invested. Also, you never know. This map was about also you never know what you will find. So I also tried to put one in a desert. I managed to put one in the Museum of War in Ladakh, in the monument. So, since the start of my company, Legal Human Trafficking Goods and Services team, I have mainly focused on creating products and services made of material coming from human existence in decomposition, such as domestic dust, my own skin, or flowers taken from tombs. My plan in the near future is to focus on perfumes. Since 1 week ago, I've been investigating how I could develop forms and practices of legal human trafficking in Ciudad de Mexico. The topic of the lecture of this first International Congress of Legal Human Trafficking are in continuation with my reflection, which I want to be collectively share and explore.